The Maryland man who was wrongly deported to El Salvador, because he wasn't legal or MS-13 or anything.
It's true.
Is being housed at one of the most hellish prisons on earth.
What?
And is being tortured beyond belief.
Oh my God!
No, he's not.
What?
He met with a Democratic senator at a restaurant. They sat, they spoke, and they sipped margaritas.
Now you're an asshole.
I'm Jazz Berganzo, and this. Democrats always cry for justice. Where was the justice for a woman, a mother of 5, who was murdered in that same state by an illegal?
Ooh, yeah.
I'll wait. But it's what's next. Happy Friday, everyone. Jazz Berganzo, what's next? Your daily dose. Hope you guys are doing well today. And of course, going into the weekend, always a good thing. Well, the ever ongoing, the soap opera, if you will, that is The Maryland Man. The Maryland man, the falsely accused, the wrongly deported man who just happened to be an illegal, a member of MS-13. Why? Because documentation has recently surfaced that it is so. Was deported to El Salvador to be housed in one of the most hellish prisons on earth. And sadly, he's been tortured beyond recognition. Now, if you believe that, I've got a bridge in Brooklyn I can sell you for $1. No, it turns out he's just fine. He's so fine that he met with a Democratic senator. They went to a restaurant. They sat. They chatted. How lovely the day was. How you feeling. I'm feeling good. Yeah, you know what? It was a good flight in. And of course, they sipped margaritas. This is a man being tortured at one of the most hellish prisons on earth. But no, he's not. He's having margaritas and living the high life. And here we go. This comes out of the post-millennial. Chris Van Hollen, senator out of Maryland, I almost said Minnesota, sips margaritas with Kilmar Abrego Garcia in El Salvador. And of course, we hear comments from President Bukele. And of course, there he is right there, meeting with a representative, sipping margaritas at a nice, posh restaurant. How nice. Senator Chris Van Hollen out of Maryland is facing backlash scrutiny after new photos surfaced showing him meeting with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, an MS-13 gang member who was deported during the Trump administration. The images shared by El Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele on X shows Van Hollen chatting with Abrego Garcia at a restaurant in El Salvador. Quote, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, miraculously risen from the death camps and torture, now sipping margaritas with Senator Van Hollen in a tropical paradise of El Salvador, Bukele wrote, posting multiple photos of their pair seated together at outdoor table. Now that he's been confirmed healthy, he's getting the honor of staying in El Salvador's custody, Bukele said in a second post. The visit stems from Van Hollen's ongoing push to bring Abrego Garcia, who was previously the subject of a deportation fight, back to the U.S., despite serious allegations, including the report that he has been repeatedly beating his wife. Abrego Garcia has been portrayed by the left-wing media outlets as a Maryland father, a family man, if you will. Van Hollen. I said my main goal on the trip was to meet with Kilmar. Tonight I had a chance. I have called his wife Jennifer to pass along the message of love. I look forward to providing a full update upon my return. How nice. Quote, okay, I just read that. Last week, the Daily Caller reported that Van Hollen's trip to El Salvador was likely paid by using taxpayer dollars. Shocking. According to the outlet, multiple current and former state Senate aides suggested that the travel was part of a congressional delegation, CODEL, which typically used federal funds. Taxpayer money. This is from President Nayib Bukele. Now that he's been confirmed healthy, he gets the honor of staying in El Salvador's custody. Previously posted, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, miraculously risen from the death camps and torture, now sipping margaritas with Senator Van Hollen in a tropical paradise of El Salvador. Quote, if I had to bet this trip was funded by taxpayer dollars, regardless, it's insane that Democrats are more concerned about illegal immigration, gang members being sent home to their constituents, being sent home more than their constituents' safety, one senator aide told the caller. And of course, he posted this, the president of El Salvador, I love chess. Clowns. An absolute clown show that goes on in the Democratic Party. Now, previously to the election last year, what was the Democratic Party main theme? Transgenders. Yes, we need to support transgenders because they're offing themselves off. They're ending themselves. They just want to be their authentic selves. They ran that horse all the way to the election and got smoked because of it. Now we have the Maryland man. I'll say this: I have no problem with them riding this horse. They want to ride this horse all the way to the midterms next year. Do it. Every time they open their mouths, do it. Let them die on this hill. I have no problem with it. And the Republicans should drill it into the ground. This is the Democratic Party. They are the party of the illegals. They support illegals. They defend illegals more than you because they don't give a fuck about you or your family's safety. In Maryland, there was a woman, a Miss Morin, 35, a mother of five, excuse me. She was murdered by an illegal. Where was the news reports about those? I mentioned it briefly in a video yesterday, in a video clip, and I'm just going to finish it off today. Nothing. While you had legacy media chirping off about the injustice that Abrego Garcia has received under the bad man, the orange man bad, the Trumponian, as they call him, Trumpendejo. Where was the news reports about her, about her family, about what they're going through, about their grieving, about the loss of their mother, the children, loss of their mother, the loss of a wife, loss of a sister. Where were those reports? Crickets. That's where they were. So the media continues to play these fucking shenanigans at the cost of lives. How many women did we see murdered by illegals last year that were barely covered, that were barely touched in legacy media? You know who posted those? Social media. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. By content creators. Yeah, you had your Fox News, you had your Newsmax, but mainly it was Rogan, The Blaze, Megyn Kelly, Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, Benny Johnson, see where I'm going? This is the ongoing bullshit that the media is. But with this story, yeah, let them die. And I hope it's a glorious death. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Borganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this? Please leave a comment below. Like it, share, subscribe to it. Hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. Continue spreading the word about the show. Appreciate you guys watching as always. And we'll see you next time. Peace.